Well, it's back to it tomorrow, friend. Just another day in the salt mines. Thanksgiving's over, and we had another COVID variant on the way just in time for Christmas. Oh, that's right. Any other virus you might have just got knocked down another notch on the list. Mm-hmm. But think about it. What could have been cured if this kind of focus was directed at something like HIV or actually curing cancer? I don't know. Today we get to talk about Omicron. You know, anthropologist Margaret Mead is credited with saying, "We continually faced with great opportunities, which are brilliantly disguised as unsolvable problems." Well said. And yet, through the perseverance and dedication, so many of those problems do actually get solved eventually. And often those that do the solving end up immensely wealthy. But I digress. Back to the topic of viruses. Look, I'm not trying to diminish the good work that's been done and the progress that's been made on things like HIV and cancer and the like. What I am saying is, why did it take a generation to get here with those? And then we expect that the same set of geniuses or processes can fix the present situation with viruses and variants. Come on, man. We all know the money's in the treatment, not in the cure. Think about that for a minute. So here we are. And if you thought you had trouble in the last couple of years, it's just not likely to get any better. I mean, it's great to have a salt mine to go to, I suppose. I do, and I'm grateful for that. And it's good to have some time to get ready for the next round of the holidays. I mean, after all, who's got time for more fear and uncertainty? Just between you and I don't. And people are going to do what they're going to do. And it's pretty far out of my control. So I think it's time for us all to just do what we need to do for ourselves, right? We talked recently about our Venn diagram, where we had a circle for catastrophe on one side and a circle for fantasy on the other side, and somewhere in the middle is where things can actually get done. Well, it applies in this case as well. I mean, if this last several years have taught us anything, it should be to live while we're alive. I mean, there's only so much living in fear that we can do, isn't there? I guess I don't want to speak for you, friend. I'll shoulder that burden myself. Speaking of burdens, the whole salt mine discussion came up in the context of me answering a question about Pinocchio. Yeah, weird, huh? The one with the lies and the growing nose on the puppet. Did you know that that's one of the most translated stories books in history? I believe it's comfortably in the top three, with number one being the Bible and number two being The Boy Prince or something. At any rate, in the middle of the story, our protagonist ends up on Fun Island. No, not Epstein's Island, you sicko. But after a brief period of indulgence, the boys, wooden or not, start growing ears and turning into donkeys to be sold into service at, you guessed it, the salt mines. I know, it seems pretty random. The thing is that there are currents of truth that flow through the character tropes, and there's a reason that a book about virtue and honesty and the value of earnest effort is one of the most translated books in history. Unlike the Bible, Pinocchio is only a couple of hundred years old, so it's really made some hay in its time. It's also not religious per se, and the story's filled with talking animals of various sorts and malevolent con men and blue-haired fairies that'll save your ass if you're a decent human, all with our protagonist's main goal of becoming a real boy instead of a magical wooden puppet. Right? Seems like insurmountable odds for sure, and I'll bet Margaret Mead, were she here, would have a word or two to say on that. Anthropologists rarely run short on words, and if you are one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. At the end of the day, though, we've got to go and mine our own salt. Whatever that means for you, it's going to flow one way or the other, and we have to figure out just how to survive and thrive. So, what does it take for you and I to avoid being turned into a jackass in the process? I suppose it differs for everybody. But I guess we just need to adapt and evolve and figure out how to survive. Seems like nobody's coming to save you or me from any of this, friend. There's not a blue haired fairy that's going to come and fix this for us. And honestly, if that's what it takes for us to live our best lives, maybe staying a magical wooden puppet is the best outcome we deserve. You've got my take. What say you?